You're listening to Candid Cannabis Conversations, a show where the title says it all. Here are your hosts, Strain Slayer and Blunt Betty.
Welcome back to Candid Cannabis. Thank you so much for joining us again. Today we are going to pick up where we left off in episode 3. Dawson from Rosin Inc. and my daughter, Gabby, is with us. And we're just going to pick right up in the middle of the conversation.
Last week was a ton of fun. We kind of had to stop abruptly just due to time and everything. But we're going to go ahead and pick back up right where we left off. So if you want to go ahead and get medicated along with us, go ahead and get your vape pens ready, your dab rigs warmed up, and we'll just go ahead and kick it back off with Dawson and Gabby. It'd be really cool to have presses in the dispensaries when flower becomes legal. Mm-hmm. That way people could actually go into the dispensary and actually press their bud. Yeah. Imagine if it was like a little bubble gum machine. You throw your nugs in the top, they swirl down to the bottom, drop into a little
You know how like
bag.
the coffee grinders are in grocery stores where you can get like freshly ground your, that'd be like, it's kind of that concept. It's a great idea.
I think that would be a really cool experience because you wouldn't be alone at home doing something like that. If you bought your flower at the dispensary and you walked over to press it and you seemed a little intimidated, maybe somebody might see you and say, hey, can I give you a hand with that? Just because the cannabis community is very helpful.
And you'll have professional guidance in an actual dispensary, which is awesome.
Right.
I think over time the market's going to evolve, but I'm definitely going to try to get everyone to put a press in their store or at least educate them on solventless because you can check out the site. I'll have it up in about 2 weeks, and I'm going to have a lot of information there on one, rosin sauce, where you can literally achieve sauce-like consistency, where you can put it in cartridges, rosin-wise, solventless, make it at your house, make your own cartridges from your own cannabis at your casa, and also teach you how to mechanically separate your rosin and have THCA acetate, just a fine white powder isolate that is literally 99.9%, where if you were to take a high temp dab of THCA, it's a completely different high, and it's medicating. It's nice to experience the different effects of cannabis in its different forms, and you can do that with rosin. So that's something I would love to educate people on in Florida because a lot of people don't even know what rosin is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and a lot of people don't know what anything is at all, so this is all brand new stuff to everybody, or not everybody, but a whole lot of people. I was watching Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Oh, I love Bill Nye.
And for anybody that doesn't know anything about cannabis extraction at all, he has a show on Netflix, and one of his episodes talks about that.
Bill
Nye Saves the World.
Yeah.
He's actually kind of condescending to cannabis patients. I'm not going to lie to you. He kind of like made us look like he was a little pathetic in it. But
big money in his pocket.
But nonetheless, I will say that if you don't know the science behind extraction and stuff, it's a very good basic.
That's awesome.
That's
really awesome. The duct tape, do you want to try it inside of this, or would you like to smoke it in a joint? I think flavor-wise, we'd all get a terpier hit if we all took a little bit out of here.
I agree with that.
My son, who's almost 5, he's very particular, and he knows what he likes and what he doesn't like. He has a very basic white girl palate, like chicken nuggets and mac and cheese.
Hey, oh my gosh, that's my palate. We could be friends.
Yeah. It's everybody's
Is your
palate.
son on Instagram? Can I get his diet routine? Because I'm actually working on something on my own right now. I mean, honestly, it's sad. I'm 30 and now I'm like, I love beef. I love cheese. I love chicken. I love pork. Did I say chicken already?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah. Oh, my fiance hates it. We'll go to a restaurant. I'll be like, I'll be like, no lettuce, tomato, onion, please. And they're like, no greens? And I'm like, no, ma'am. The only green thing that I like to eat is cannabis. And she always puts her heads down and shakes it. But it's the truth. That's like the only green thing that I'm like, huh. And sometimes I get antsy. I'll see a nice bud and I'll just take a little piece off and I'll pop it in and just chew it down and just appreciate it and go, there's some THCA for you, Popeye.
I've never said that publicly, but I honestly do that. If a nug looks really nice, I will pluck a little piece off it and just chew it a little bit. to eat it. Back in the day,
I don't care, man. I'm high. I'm not trying to impress anybody.
back in the day, I would chew the stems. I would, break up my.
I
bud
would
and
chew the stems as well.
while
Chew
I
it
was
down
hauling.
and make it like nice. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I love doing that. Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
And you know what? I heard.
My grandma, just to jump in right in there, my straight-laced grandma, I have two grandmas. One of them I've gotten high with, and that's a cool grandma. And my other grandma's cool too, but she was very, very, she was a very proper woman. She was probably born in the 1920s, maybe the early 1930s. She one time was with my mom, who was a hippie. My mom had really bad cramps at the time, and she was complaining about it. She said, my grandma says, I wish I could remember what that was that I used to chew on when I was a kid when we had really bad cramps. She's like, it was like started with an M. She was like, it was marijuana something. And my mom's standing there just jaw dropped because she's trying to say marijuana. So she used to chew on marijuana when she was a teenager for cramps.
And it's so funny because what happens?
From Oklahoma.
Yeah, THCA will over time convert to THC. It will degrade, and then over time that THC will convert to CBN, which is like something that's a different type, more of a head. And I've heard that. Yeah, if you let, say weed out in the field, who knows, in Oklahoma, that's grown, dried, and been sitting there for 4 months not collected, someone pops over, pop this in your mouth, and just starts to, even a hemp stick, that's got a little bit of residual THC in there. And just the CBD and the THC combined. That's amazing, a natural remedy. Wow. That's amazing.
I suspect that maybe why such a huge demographic of patients in the dispensaries right now are elderly.
Yeah.
I think that Slayer can attest to that absolutely. Being there day after day like he is. But when I go in, I could say overall I see a lot of elderly, and I say elderly, I mean over 70.
Oh yeah,
not 60s because 60s young. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh, that gentleman at Move.
Was he a gentleman?
I wish, because I was.
Was he a gentleman?
He was an older gentleman. Yes,
Okay.
he was. He was very. Do you watch Letterkenny? I don't know if I'm allowed to name drop. Okay, it's kind of a weird show, but I would call him a shirt tucker.
Yeah.
He tucks his plaid shirt into his jeans. He was a very cute grandpa guy. I don't know. He was cool. He was talking about dropping an ounce. He was like, just pick up an ounce and put it in my press and blah, blah, blah. He was going on.
He was talking about butter, his butter. He's like, I make butter. He's like, I just drop an OZ. He kept
an OZ. Drop an O. I drop an O.
He's like, I drop an O in my butter. I just drop an O. He was great.
That's my man.
But he was so chill about it. He wasn't trying to be cool. He was just some
That's just who he was.
chill old man, talking about his O's.
I can't rightfully accept that. Pass it to the left is embedded in my soul.
Dealer pass to the left. I know. He gave it to me, so I'm instantly inclined to give it back to him.
I'm glad you say pass to the left because I agree with that. And I recently saw a meme on the internet that was like, he ain't your man or she ain't your girl if he don't pass the blunt to you first. No,
it's always pass to the
dude,
left.
Pass to the left.
You need
That's
to what is that?
It's
it's
just
a pass
ancient
to the left.
stoner culture.
I don't know where
Pass?
it came from,
And
and
I hate
don't.
saying
But
stoner.
my fiance didn't know about that. She had smoked cannabis a little bit here and there, but when I got with her, I was really teaching her the etiquette and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she kind of got offended one time when we were in a circle and she was sitting on my right side, and I passed it to the person to my left.
What the fuck, babe?
Yeah, it's basically her reaction.
Do you know the secret to always giving a high five and never missing?
Elbows.
Do you know it? It's elbows. You look at my elbow. Don't look at my hand. Look at my elbow.
Perfect connection every time. Every time.
Isn't that awesome?
Let's try
Don't
it.
take credit for that because
I won't take credit for
Every
it.
time.
yes, that is. She learned that from her awesome daughter.
Yeah.
I think you need to high five with somebody. Yeah.
Hey, please edit out my high
can
pitch.
you high five both of us? No, because you can't look at both our elbows.
All right.
Yeah!
We all high five.
Try.
My husband works from home.
I think your husband and I would get along.
Yeah, he doesn't
He's
smoke.
the Navy guy, right?
The Navy guard. No, she's got two husbands. The Navy guy and then the one that we're talking about. The one.
See, I'm lost. Doesn't matter. I'll still build rapport with the
Okay, so
non-Navy
I do
guy.
have to apologize. That kind of humor is my father. That if
That's
you get
sarcastic.
along with somebody like that, then you will get along with my dad because I'm my dad, and I'll say something and I'll be like, my dad right now. Like,
I feel that. I have no filter. I'm very blunt. I say exactly what I'm thinking and feeling. And
Yeah, I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Same.
I can't help that.
wow.
I never got that
Unanimous.
expression.
So wearing your heart on your sleeve means you're transparent. You wear your emotions. So
She wears hers on
you
her
do
wrist.
like. Is there tattoos?
Yeah.
What's your tattoo now? I'm curious.
Yeah, you got to go with yours first. It's a heart on her wrist. I told you she wears her heart
You
on
know
her
what?
wrist.
How about
There you
this?
go.
I see.
A locket on
Metaphorically,
Does somebody else have the key?
women have a lock, men have a key. So metaphorically, it's nice because in the deep sense, there's ancient.
Tell yourself that story.
No.
This is so worse because I don't have a key. I was so wasted.
Oh no, it's not like one of the story. Okay, damn
So,
it.
but this is how it goes
Trying to
from
build
my side.
something into it.
From my side, it goes. She says to me, "Would you be mad if I got another tattoo?" And I say, "Well, I think that there's more responsible things that you could spend money on than a tattoo right now."
True story.
She was young, she was a teenager and an older teenager, but still nonetheless. And so she asked me a couple more questions, and I'm sitting there, and it was like it was a long time, like a really
Oh,
like
and
a
then
really
you're
long
like,
time. And all of a
wait a
sudden, I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, you already got a tattoo." And she was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "What'd you get?" And she was like, "A heart with a keyhole in it."
Well, listen, this is what you do, okay? You can have facts about life and everything like that, but now you build in some bullshito into that tattoo. And that's your story. You just build it up and just build it into your mind, and you got it because you can't just have a tattoo.
I
that
just
you
want
got.
it covered.
I have a heart tattoo.
yeah.
A what?
A heart tattoo.
Oh,
That's fucking cool.
Don't
bro.
take this the wrong way. I know that guys don't like
Whoa,
cute, but
let me
that's
see.
cute.
No, I like that.
I like that
So-
a lot.
My heart is filled in with the colors. My fiance has the matching heart on her ribs with the colors on the outside.
Oh
The
my
inside of the heart is
God.
empty, and the colors are all on the outside.
I love it.
We're
That
super
is-
corny and cute and cheesy, and yeah, we got
I
matching
like
tattoos.
that.
That is
I
freaking
love
cool.
it. Gabby and I
heart-
have matching tattoos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have matching birds, different flowers.
I don't know why that was so difficult for me to comprehend.
What?
Matching birds, different flowers. That sounds like a fucking.
same bird,
Sounds like a Chinese. That sounds like the next Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon movie. Matching birds, hidden same flower. What was the
Matching
name?
birds, different flowers.
Matching birds, different flowers. What flower do you have? What do you have?
Mine's hibiscus.
Oh, you know what? Hibiscus, lily hibiscus. Why is lily hibiscus?
I like lilies.
I like turtles.
I like lilies. I love lamp. I love lamp.
Oh man.
Are you just saying you love things in the room? I love
do.
stapler.
Since we're talking about tattoos, I do also have some Zelda canisters on my chest.
I thought you were gonna say I also do love lamp.
I do also love lamp.
I love those. Let me see that because
They're a little faded because it's where my
see mine would more
Oh,
look
that's
like
so dope.
Yeah, that is dope. They're if no one can see, they're the hearts that we used to see in Zelda, and whenever you get hit, half a heart would disappear.
16-bit.
16. Yeah.
or
Let me see.
actually it's the 8-bit.
How much of
8-bit,
your hearts
8-bit,
are missing?
sorry.
So out of her 4 hearts, she's got 1.5 missing, I believe.
Yes.
So
You take some damage in life.
it's true. Yeah, and she's young. So
Yeah. I bring up the Zelda thing because like several times people will be like Minecraft and I'm like no. So I'm at the drive-thru in Dunkin' Donuts getting a coffee for my husband and this guy goes, "Oh, cool. Minecraft." And I was like, "No. Legend of Zelda." And he was like,
The
"Oh my
OG.
god." He goes, "I'm like 30. I should know that." And I
yeah,
was like,
bro.
"Yeah, you should." And I
Play
did,
on a SNES at
I
that.
I don't get like that
know
often,
what?
but I'm super passionate
I
about
appreciate that because I can instantly see it. I kept my time and my genre pretty intact. I did the whole Game Boy Color when I was
Oh yeah.
4, 5, or Game Boy. No color. Game Boy.
Preaching to the choir.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
y'all's generation. I'll just somebody pass me a bowl and you guys just keep talking.
So what kind of games did you guys like to play? Because I never really talked to anybody who liked to play. I never really got into Pokemon, but I liked like the Tom and Jerry, like where
Oh,
you'd have to get the
yes.
freaking carrot. Like, oh my god, I
On
love
what?
that.
What system?
It was like the original Game Boy.
PlayStation? Game
No,
Boy? Oh,
No.
Game Boy.
Handheld?
Game Boy.
like
Yeah.
a handheld.
Oh
Game
yeah, I never
Boy.
played that one.
But see, her parents were old school, and she used to play Mortal Kombat on the SNES
Oh,
with
dude.
her dad all the time.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
just talking about
Yes.
this.
We
with
can play
somebody.
SNES
Fuck yeah, up
right
top.
now if we wanted to.
love
And
SNES.
I still remember like
Mortal
combos.
Kombat 3? Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3?
Yes. Well, I
That-
don't know which one it
I
was.
think
It was just the
new-
one with like all of the
I have
characters.
them
Is it
all
the
in there right
one-
now. I
The
have
one
them.
with like
Oh,
Sonya
good dawn.
and the Sindel, the girl with the whippy hair.
What
and,
about
like all
Noob
three?
Sabat? Noob Smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is this
Yes.
secret character?
So I
No,
remember
Noob
when I was a
Sabat and Smoke are
kid
different, I
playing Sega Genesis, and I'd be playing Sonic the Hedgehog, and I was so young.
Yeah,
but
I always loved Sonic.
I would always repeat when it would say Sega.
Dun,
I
dun, dun, dun,
thought
dun.
it was saying see ya. So I would walk around and I would repeat that. I would say that as a little kid. See
So
ya.
Bum, 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 bum,
Yep.
bum. Like, because he's fast, man.
Yeah, oh,
I
man.
love
That's
Sonic.
awesome.
So when you were little,
Sonic
you
was
did that.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
So Gavin's little like I don't know mouth typo, we'll call it.
That is some millennial bullshit, and
I
I'm
don't-
gonna go ahead and call you out on that one.
I don't know
I'll
what
let a
else
lot
to
of shit
call it.
fly, but a mouth typo is some millennial
what,
shit.
what am I supposed to call it? He
Slip of the tongue, I think, is the current vernacular.
he likes Transformers, and he'll be like Transformers, robots in the sky, and I'm like, no, it's in disguise.
Hey, you know what? It's in the sky for
Yeah.
him.
Now he does both. He'll be like in the sky, in disguise. I'm like, okay, you remix.
Oh yeah. You remember Earthworm Jim?
Oh,
Play that?
dude.
I still
love
have that in
Earthworm
there
Jim.
too.
Yo,
Actually,
oh my
Earthworm Jim
God.
is really messed up. But I used to play Earthworm Jim on a PC on a computer at my grandma's house. And let me tell you, those are some of the best video game memories of my life.
Oh yeah. Or do you remember the All Rail Monsters?
Yes, the show.
There was the N64 game from the All Rail Monsters.
I had no idea there was a
Oh,
game.
Man. Yes, it was so fun. Of course, all the Marios from.
Hey, I hate to interrupt, but Dawson just got some awesome, really big news. Why
do
not
it.
announce it right here?
Yeah. So I just got my corporate filing back. I got all my stuff back from Sunbiz, and technically I filed it February 26th, and that's when I've been incorporated since. But I just got my actual enclosed certification and so on. So officially Rosin Incorporated. Feels good, man.
Hell yeah.
Feels
man.
good to be 100% sole owner.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations.
Good for you.
I do have 3 other people that I'm working with. One of my actually good friends ever since, you know what, I've got a group of 4 or 5 buddies, and I have maintained my friendship with those guys. And the one friend, Gabe, who is currently bartender at VIP Lounge on Treasure Island. Shout out to VIP Lounge and Pat. If you want to go get drunk on margaritas, tell him Dawson sent you. But yeah, Pat is awesome, dude. He's going to be helping me doing the welding, and he's also going to be a part of the company. 2 other people as well that they're not quite ready to move forward with being announced because of their prior commitments. So no big deal at all. But yeah, definitely excited to provide Florida with solventless rosin. Oh, I talked about this earlier, and and we're just going all over the place, but I meant to talk about and ask if it was going to be okay, or what you all thought about. I'm going to do American-made presses with a cage kit, a hydraulic cylinder that pushes that cage kit to squeeze out rosin and so on. But I'm also contemplating getting some stuff from overseas that I can source for much cheaper, because anything that I manufacture, to give you an idea, BVA hydraulic kit alone is around $500, and that's with a distributor deal, and that's a 10-ton. So just that alone, built in with cost, labor, our press is going to be anywhere from 13 to 19, depending on tonnage. If I wanted to do something on a lower range, I would have to look more towards something overseas, get it shipped in, and I can go from like maybe $200 to $900 then in price. So if that's something that people are like, you know what, we don't mind you having 2 options, then I'm open to doing it. If not, then I have no problem just sticking true to, made in America. It's not like it's going to take away any from the business. It's just going to provide people that don't have the option to have the option, and everyone should have the option.
I think
mean, it's
everybody's
simple
going
as
to have
that.
an opinion on that. I personally think it's nice to have both options because
Yeah.
not everybody can afford a $1,500, $1,900
Oh,
press.
right there with me. I hear you. 100%.
But I think everybody should be, consuming rosin,
man.
rather than this
Ex-
solvent.
this is the key here too. If we can get an ounce from a dispensary from like $300 in the future, hopefully, and $300 is a little pricey even for me because
Ouch.
we're all used to, we can get stuff for $120 to $200 an ounce nowadays, and it's good looking stuff. Even $200 an ounce stuff is pretty delicious looking indoor that I've seen. And when you're going and pressing that, you'll get a 20 to 25% yield. So you press 30 grams at a 25% yield. That's 7.5 grams of solventless concentrate off of a $300. Now multiply 7.5 times 50. You're up in the 400s, the 500s already. So you're a lot more efficient by pressing your own material, just because, like you all know,
to buy.
exactly. Because would you all think rosin's going to be $50 a gram in the future?
No. Even in states like Colorado and California, I know
70 to 80 to
70,
90.
80, and there's rosins that are up to $150 a
Well, that's
gram.
the live rosins that are rosin jams and so
White.
on. Yeah.
Well, like
white
was
taffy.
what was mentioned earlier, the move packets that they've been putting out to
Right.
tease us or whatever. I don't comment. I run in the background a little bit on social media. I try to at least. Again, like socially awkward. So like, I spoke up. I said something like, "Ooh, I hope it's affordable," and everybody like ha-ha'd my comment, and I was like, "Bitch, I wasn't being funny." Like,
It's hard to say. I mean, I do love Move. With the release of their gold, it does make me question that because 85 a gram is pretty high.
I do think it's gonna run just about the same, and that means I probably won't buy it. It'll be one of those treat yourself thing.
Exactly. We'll just have to wait and see.
Even if, say, it is $80 a gram, I would much rather have some rosin than some
Shatter.
gold.
No, I agree.
Even though more than some gold, just because gold even got, and terps are still present in rosin. The only thing I think we really need to focus on is, we need to get those products out, but we also need to focus on storing. Like, there needs, if we're going to have concentrates, there needs to be refrigerators on premises. Go Colorado. Every single high-end concentrate they pull out, they're pulling out a refrigerator if it's a responsible dispensary. And the reason why is they're preserving the terpenes. And the reason why is because terpenes are the medicine.
Terpenes where it's at.
Yeah, exactly, man.
And
It's
it wouldn't cost much. I think it's part of the growing pains. It's part of the learning curve of these dispensaries or medical marijuana treatment centers here in Florida. But I think it's going to take people like us, people like you, speaking up and educating even the people that are running these places that don't know. I think that's what it is. It's just a lack of education. I think everybody was kind of rushed and they were so worried about all the stipulations and then, all the hoops you had to jump through just to even get started initially.
Understandably so.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
in fairness to
Understandably
them.
so. A lot of things were overlooked. You had dispensaries putting MCT oil in their distillates. You have companies with MCT oil still in vapable products. You have companies still with strain specific quote unquote distillates that are food grade terpenes. Like, we're still going
Well, you know
through
what?
it,
And
but
I wouldn't say a plant-based. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I have some health problems, and I was experiencing some shortness of breath, and I stopped using said distillate with food grade terpenes, and I noticed that my shortness of breath.
Who's just say it? Who?
True Leave.
Okay.
This
You
is
gotta be
candid
on
cannabis
you gotta-
conversation.
Yeah.
You
Well,
gotta.
I mean,
we gotta
I
be straight
don't
up.
wanna-
I hear you,
It's
but we're
not
not
about putting them on
bashing.
blast. It's
Yeah,
about letting
It's
other
about-
patients know.
exactly.
Yeah,
'Cause do you want other people that are gonna go purchase the? Because it's simple as this: they're gonna hear this, and other people's gonna stop purchasing it, and then they're gonna fucking change it. That's how it works.
Well,
Simple as that.
I mean, case in point,
if we
Grow
continue
Healthy-
to facade it and be okayed, then it's just gonna continue to be how it is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I'm not a big basher.
I'm just passionate about that.
No, I'm with you, man.
Yes,
I'm right there
awesome,
with
man.
you. And I'm not a big basher either, but I must say, Grow Healthy did try some shady business tactics, in my opinion, the other day. They put on a pretty big sale, and at the same time, they went ahead and jacked up their prices by like 25-30%.
They wanted to ask me about any opportunities in the future because I'm sure they're looking for any type of techniques because rosin, although it might seem easy, experience is the key. You just have to know what. I don't know. It's literally the only thing you can learn right now because there's no real information about it to read. So you have to just learn by doing.
You have to know somebody, or you have to have had experience.
Yeah, exactly. And just
Absolutely.
doing it over and over again. I mean, I've had 4 MMTCs now contact me, and one that I've reached out to specifically just because I love their practices. They didn't contact me. I reached out to them. But the other 4, I'm just kind of, at standstill, letting them know I'm taking care of one specific entity. Grow Healthy, I let them know I just couldn't be affiliated, simple for the fact of, I love their medicine, but that is disgusting because I was just talking about how much it costs to make this stuff.
Exactly.
You've got a $5 million. I've worked with manufacturers in California before. I lived there in 2010, 2011 when the market started to boom off. When the stuff was expensive, it was costing them $5 to $20 for everything, including packaging. And $20 was like your
Prime.
primo, your
Top
stuff.
shelf.
And I'm talking about 90U water washed live hash. That was $150 a gram. That was your primo stuff that was costing. And the reason why it was costing so much is one whole plant would wash and make maybe 4 to 5 grams of live hash. And in 90U, the reason why 90U, and because 90U meaning 90 micron, that's the size of the bag that the trichome heads can fall through. And that specific size allows for a nice glandular head that is usually clear, which means you'll have a nice, very blonde head, a very good psychoactive effect, not sedating at all, even if it's an indica. And, So if we had full melt bubble hash and they were charging $120 a gram for it and people were complaining, I would just be like, look, guys, you guys don't know what you're talking about. No offense, but there's a lot of work that goes into that. It's an art. Not only is it an art, but it is intensive.
For bubble hash and things like that. But to wrap back.
Live resin, live plant bubble
exactly.
hash. Yeah.
But to go back to what we were talking about as far as distillate,
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not cheap. And that's the difference. Yeah.
Distillate's much cheaper to make, and it should be so much cheaper to the public.
They shouldn't be using things. They shouldn't be cheaping out with things like terpenes. They shouldn't be using food grade terpenes.
It's already that cheap to make.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
What happens is to make distillate, I don't know if anyone's familiar with how distillate and so on's made, but they do the ethanol process where they basically, same as butane, where they're going to purge a chamber full with ethanol. They have a de-wax period where they chill it with dry ice or liquid nitrogen where they pull the lipids and fats out. Then they cook off the ethanol in a baking action over time in vacuum cooled ovens. When they pull off that ethanol, that's what leaves them with the shatter consistency. They didn't take that shatter consistency, put it in a rotary vap, and let that rotary vap cook off in a boiling method that THC gets fractionally distilled into the air like reverse osmosis, kind of like the sun, just the way we make rain with our clouds, just like smart water makes their water. So it condenses back.
We're making
in
distillate clouds.
Yeah. So that THC vapor condenses back in with a chilled line, condenses back into a gold liquid, and depends on how good you are at. I mean, you can make it so it's water clear. As you can see, a lot of people are good at doing water clear. Like I've seen True Clear and some other stuff. It looks like it's
Curaleaf has had the clearest distillate I've ever seen.
And
their 90% was absolutely clear, had no terpene profile whatsoever, of course.
And that's amazing.
And it is. And especially if you're using it for like edible purposes, that makes a great edible. It makes a great sublingual also.
Even distillate that is not clear, that is uncut, will not have any taste or smell. The clearness is about more so the fats and the lipids that are still retaining within the product. And it's such a small percentage. But yeah, getting it to be extremely clear and also knowing how to remove pesticides from it if it does contain any are both extremely difficult processes that require a lot of knowledge. I don't have any knowledge about those two. But the fact of distillation is, you're taking an ethanol and then your return on that is ridiculous, so they shouldn't be charging what they're charging for. I mean, what we were talking about before, we didn't even get into it. Knox Medical, if you buy a gram of their concentrates in pen form, it's going to cost you
$100 a gram?
$150. $150.
It's time for the review of the week. with Strain Slayer critiquing the best medical cannabis Florida has to offer.
All right, today's strain report is going to be on True Leaves RSO, or Rick Simpson oil. It is a full extract cannabis oil, which means you are getting the full entourage effect with all of the terpenes and cannabinoids still present in this oil. This does come in a 1 gram syringe. It's a very thick, black kind of colored paste. Very, very potent, very planty. Most people probably won't find it very palatable, but me personally, I actually kind of enjoy the taste. So you can ingest this, straight up. You can put it right on your finger and, just go ahead and kind of put it under your tongue, rub it on your gums, or you can actually go as far as infusing different foods, cookies, brownies, whatever you have with this cannabis oil. So again, I personally prefer just to go ahead and put a little dab on my finger and eat it. What I find is really, really fast acting relief. As far as oral consumption, I've never had any other cannabis product kind of kick in quite as fast as RSO does. So I would say within the first 10-15 minutes, I started getting a mild body high, followed by a little bit of a cerebral head high. Hour and a half later, and a full body high, full euphoria, almost like a pulsing feeling from your body, is the way I would explain it. Very pain relieving, very anxiety relieving, extremely calming, but very, very potent. So if you are newer to cannabis as a medicine and you've got a lower tolerance, I would recommend trying to dose this out into the smallest doses possible. Very, very psychoactive, very strong, very sedating as well. I did use this every day for about 2 weeks in the morning, and I will say I needed something like a sativa or a cup of coffee to kind of get me through the day, as I found the RSO did kind of sedate me a bit and make me kind of tired. Another thing to be thoughtful of with this RSO is the strength and the potency and the psychoactivity. Be careful if you're using any other, pharmaceuticals, or if you're consuming alcohol. One night I hadn't considered the effects of alcohol mixed with the RSO, and to my surprise, it was much, much more intoxicating than I had anticipated. 2 beers with a dose of RSO was very strong. I would not recommend, newer patients mix RSO with anything like that. Start low, start slow, but enjoy the very relaxing and pain relieving effects of this RSO. So True Leaf, shout out to you guys. 72% THC on this batch. Very, very relieving. So I will definitely be keeping an eye out for some more RSO from you guys.
We should have some type of knowledge event too, where we're building awareness on what, and maybe like maybe if we can get industry professionals, where people can literally like live AMA style ask them, even if it was from live cam, if I can get like someone from, like one of the chemists from Move over there or something like that to come on and answer a couple of questions that people may have about a specific process. It would just need to be, their time is obviously very valuable, so it would need to be just pre-filtered on,
I love that idea.
Yeah, me
In
too.
fact,
why is sativa and indica different? Like, okay, we'll go Google that one, kind of thing. But if it's how are the terpenes pulled out, or what do you guys test for screen panel?
Well, like one of my big questions that I had for Move at one point is that they had things that were hybrid that I had bought, and literally the next time I still had the product, and the next time I went in, they were sativa or they were indica, and I was like, what?
That's why we need people out there educating. And I don't have all the answers, but I hope to at least use my influence and my circle of people and my CannaFam to try to gather and share as much information as possible. I think that's so important.
The first time I went to Certera, just like you, I had them running around asking every other person, what is this guy talking about? Cannabis derived or plant derived? And that was just, terpenes. This is like 5 or 6 months ago.
Right.
And meanwhile, look how much the push of just that has been, because everyone's kind of, look at that. Let's look into this. Yeah. I'm like, oh, wow, this isn't actually that good for you. Well, why are we smoking it if it's medicine?
You know what's crazy, though, is all of this information is already known in other states. In California, they know this. In Colorado, they know this. In Michigan, they know this. You know what I mean? why aren't there more people bridging this gap for us here in Florida? And that's what I hope this show and my website and Blunt Betty and, Rosin Inc. I hope all of us can help bridge that gap, not just for Florida, but I hope other states who are just getting into this can learn from us, so they don't have to go through as much bullshit as we're going through. Maybe they can just look at what we've gone through, see what was right and wrong, and make the right decisions. Maybe.
Or if you're going through it right now and you're a patient in one of those states and you're dealing with some shit, contact us, reach out to us and talk to us and let's hear your story. Let's not just hear a Florida story. Let's hear everybody's stories,
What do you miss?
Me? I think I've been smoking a lot and I'm away from my kids and it's just so
I'm watching
peaceful.
a movie right now.
If you want me to be honest, I was thinking how this is not level in front of my face, it messes with my brain a little bit because I'm kind of fucking crazy.
Get this goddamn mic.
I've got some
face.
OCD, so I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm a helicopter mom, so I'm like, oh crap, well, what if I let my kid play with a kid who is not vaccinated, and even if they're vaccinated, they get measles and then they die from the measles and then I have to bury my child? For that reason alone is why I smoke cannabis. Like, I mean, there
it
are...
probably chills you the fuck out.
And there are a lot of other reasons I smoke cannabis as well, but I mean, I didn't realize that it was OCD until I started seeing a therapist, and they had me do their initial evaluation. They said, do you think you might be a little obsessive compulsive? They wanted to feel me out and see how I felt about it. It wasn't until I started talking to this lady, for a couple times, she was like, dude.
For me, I remember in middle school seeing paper on a desk, like a bunch of stacks of paper, and like sitting there waiting for the principal to call me in. And I went and fucking lined every single one of the stacks up. And the lady looked at me. She's like, OCD. And I was like, I don't know what the hell that means. Yeah. But I just like my paper to be fucking perfectly straight. It needs to be neat. You should too. Like, why don't you feel compelled to straighten that?
I'm a compulsive picker, like fringe off of like denim on jeans. Yeah. Like my mom, I drove my mom crazy. The little balls of the spiral notebooks, the paper that comes out of spiral notebooks, I'd have to compulsively pick that and ball it up, and she'd all behind the couch, and wherever I was laying around or doing homework, there'd be like little stuff and
straw wrappers.
Damn it, Blunt Betty! Is that what she called you when your little girl? Listen here, Blunt Betty, don't you leave your spiral anywhere. Sorry, Mom. I'm gonna go smoke a blunt. Okay. All right, Blunt Betty.
I am a retail OCDer. Like, when I go into a store and I buy a product, I will straighten it out. Or if I'm looking,
the stalkers are like, damn.
Oh my god, dude! They probably think I'm freaking nuts.
Like, that's my future. No, maybe some of them think it's hot. Yeah. One of them is like, damn,
honestly,
bro. She's into me.
It's super weird.
See, I have a different perspective. I think you're trying to to me, you're kind of taking somebody's job away, potentially. You know?
I can't. But
he might not have something to do.
I cannot help it. Like, I have to fix something, and it's just like
she came into my store.
She took my germ.
She came into my store.
If I see something going on in there, I will be like, I will tell them. I'm filled with empathy and compassion and passion. So I'm very passionate about this. When I see some lousy dude parks in the handicap spot, that kind of thing bothers me, because what happens if somebody comes in to shop there and they go to park and they can't get out and they get discouraged and then they leave? That person, I don't want to look at it from a corporate point of view, like, oh, you lost a sale, but I want to think of it from a person's point of view. You lost the chance to help that person because somebody was just hogging up the handicap spot for no reason.
And I can definitely relate to that. Growing up, my little sister has cerebral palsy, so she's wheelchair bound her entire life. And there's been many instances where we get to a parking lot and, you see all the spots filled, even the handicap, and you look and there's no handicap placard. Granted, I'm sure there are people that are physically handicapped and they just didn't have the placard, whatever the case. But, the people who are abusing it, it does make a difference. It does make somebody else's life a lot harder. Dawson, Gabby, I really appreciate you guys coming over today. This was definitely what we needed, a much more chill, laid back, away from the political ranting we had last time. It was nice to laugh today. So
Yeah, I enjoyed myself. It was nice to get away and come here and formally meet Strain Slayer and spontaneously meet Dawson.
Nice to meet you all as well. Thank you all for having me. I appreciate you having me here. I know I talk quite a bit, but I've got a lot of knowledge in there and want to share it with everybody. And there's quite a bit of bullshit that can help slide that knowledge into place, because I know it can be so drone hearing some of this sometimes. But I try to make it fun and want to make sure that in the future, if anyone can, hopefully we can, like I said, make sure everyone gets solventless medicine, because I'm sure these three can attest, especially Blunt Betty and her daughter that haven't ever had it before, that rosin is the way to go, especially for when you can see what you can do with it. Because I showed them some nice stuff here today, but here in Florida we don't have if I could wash some material, live material, and press that, it would blow people's minds.
I can't wait for that. So I experienced a little bit of that.
Hopefully
out in
2 years,
Colorado,
man.
so.
Yeah, right?
Just one more time, just to wrap everything up, can you let people know how to get a hold of you?
Yeah.
Where to find you?
If anyone wants to contact me on Instagram, I am at ROZNINC, Rosin Incorporated. And then I am at, you can email me. The email is Dawson@ROZNINC.com. You can catch me there if you want to talk to me about some questions, concerns, or if you have any feedback about what I was talking about with the presses and what I'm doing concerning price-wise, if you think I should have presses that are more available, or just make a sister company and do it that way and keep the two brands completely separate. So that's just something that I'm up in arms right now. So Dawson@RosinIncorporated.com.
Well, thanks again. You're amazing. It's been
Thank
great
you,
to
Blunt
meet you.
Betty. I appreciate
really appreciate you joining us today.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
I hope I got you super medicated.
So very.
I honestly, I can't thank you enough, man. Honestly, the rosin is a step above everything else. It's in a league of its own. Really clean, happy high. So
I would say it's
appreciate you spreading
clean
that.
taste. Yeah, very floaty.
Very
clean
floaty, very
taste.
light,
I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, the THC is always going to get you there, but the terps are going to take you to that place. And this the amount of terpenes in this rosin, along with the other cannabinoids in a full spectrum extract, it's like smoking a whole 2 joints, but without the carcinogens.
No carbon. Yeah.
So no carbon present, just essential oils, and especially if you vaporize it at the right temperature, you're then delivering a solventless medicine that can heal everything. So not everything, but you know what I mean.
Do you hear that, Senator Harrell and all you other people? We need flower, not because we necessarily want to smoke flower. Some of us want to do other things that are much, much healthier.
We want options, and as adults, we should have those options, and we should be able to make these decisions for ourselves.
I do want to say this. If you do have 15 minutes, go onto YouTube, type in Leaf Documentary. It's about a lady that literally just juicing whole flower cannabis leaves, consuming THCA, the non-psychoactive part of THC before it's decarboxylated. She is literally changed her life completely. I mean, it's phenomenal. Give that a 15-minute watch, and tell me that we don't need whole plant flower everywhere in the world.
I agree. All right, guys. Well, I had a blast today. I know this probably could have gone on for another 5 episodes, but we're going to go ahead and have to cut it off here. I would love to have Dawson back on in the future. Gabby, it was a pleasure having you on as well. We touched on a lot of things. I hope there was some educational information in between all the laughs and smoking and dabs and all of that. But again, Dawson, thanks for coming by, and everybody, thank you for listening. Just real quick heads up, you've got the beach cleanup coming up March 30th. It's on a Saturday. We'll be starting at noon down in Fort Myers, Florida, on Fort Myers Beach. So plan to meet up somewhere near the pier, and keep an eye out for the next episode of Candid Cannabis Conversations.
Today, you heard Slayer and Dawson confess to occasionally popping a bud in their mouth and chewing it up. So we thought it would be a great show if you guys could contact us and make your confessions to us regarding cannabis. Do you pop a bud in your mouth now and then? Have you ever scooped distillate off the floor with your index finger and popped that in your mouth because it dripped off of something? Me, I guess. So
Been
yeah, things like that. Let us know. We'll put all that together and put it into a cannabis confessions show.
I think that sounds like a lot of fun. You guys can definitely DM me on Instagram at StrainSlayer, or you can actually leave a message right on your website. Isn't that right? Anonymously?
Yeah, if you want to contact anybody anonymously, that's the way to go, is on my website, askbluntbetty.com, because all of my links there do go to my email, but my email directly is askbluntbetty@gmail.com. Yours is?
Best is Instagram.
They can also go to your website, and I'm sure you have a contact.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Contact box through there.
StrainSlayer.com. You can find all my contact information and other social media platforms, things like that. So, yep.
Sounds fantastic. Make sure to join us next Tuesday for episode 5 on mental health.
Yes. All right, guys. Go out there and slay the stigma and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Candid Cannabis Conversations. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to leave us a review on Google Play and iTunes. Blunt Betty and Strainslayer can be found on all the popular social media outlets, as well as CandidCannabisConversations.com. Again, we appreciate you following us and look forward to joining us for the next episode.